Hi, this is a video on microworm and waterworm. I get asked all the time, how do I keep it, how do I transfer it, what do you do? So basically, little tub, square plastic tub like that. Put a label on it, otherwise you'll forget what it was if you get microworm and waterworm, because they're very, very similar. It's very hard to tell the difference, so always label it. Put a little hole in, using a pair of scissors. You need to get yourself a culture first from a fish shop or a fish club. Literally, get a spoon, take a little bit out. It's full of worms, tiny worms. It's very hard with one hand this, so I'm going to pause it here and I'll carry on in a minute. Right, okay, done that. Put some in there. That's the old one, I've just flattened it out a bit. Let's just get some porridge oats. Open mine from the bottom. And literally just pour on top. Just cover the whole lot. I'll show you now. So literally pour on top. Spread them out a little bit. Level. And literally spray bottle full of water. Tap water, tank water, doesn't really matter. And then just give them a really good soak. Turn it round to the other side. And send me a new one. Just basically want to get it damp, so the water's absorbed by the oats, so they become a bit gooey. So it takes quite a bit of water, but you might have to redo this in a couple of hours when it goes dry and starts sucking up the water. This just gets you going. And then if you probably say about 2 days of wetting it like that, and then it should look like that. You see it crawling up the sides. That's waterworm, labelled, and microworm. You can either use a little paintbrush to take it off the sides of the lid, or the sides of the tub, sorry, or do what I do, use your finger. So yeah, once you've given this a few good squirts, keeps it nice and moist. Put your lid on, put a label, keep it tight. I'll literally just put that under there. Keeps it cool, lower level. Some of my older ones are starting to fail a little bit, but I've got loads on the go, so I don't need to make any more. So what I do when they start going like that, they've pretty much eaten everything they can. I'll literally just top it up like this. Right, so I've topped them up, spread it out. Same with the other ones. So that's them 3 lids there, so I'm going to mix up. That's microworm, that's the waterworm. Yeah. Give it spreading out. Spray bottle. Right, so when you've done that, mine down there now all recharged. These are the fresh ones that have already got thousands of worms in. I'll show you now how to feed this. We'll say it's for baby fish, not for you. Not for you. Your adults will eat it, but you need thousands of them to satisfy them. So you literally need a tiny bit of this to feed your babies, or small nano fish, little tetra, stuff like that. So these are my little CW21s. Quite a few babies in here. I've just fed them. You can see big fat bellies on them. CW21, Corridors to Carno there at the just underneath that leaf. Some more babies down here. Some more in there. So these are the kind of fish you want to be feeding it to, the small ones. I've got some babies in here as well. There's my little fry tubs. See it over there, there's one over there. Right, so I'll show you what it looks like in the water. Right, like I said before, I use my hand. I don't use fancy brushes. I'm not a wuss. Scrape it off. Big pile of worms. Thousands of worms. So easy to look after as well. It's really good food for your babies. There's others like baby brine shrimp, banana worm and whatnot, but I've always used white worm, Walter worm and microworm. I don't need anything else. You can see how many worms there are there. Thousands. Just on a little 2-inch wipe of the tub. Right, that was your white worm, Walter worm and microworm. Now I'm going to show you white worm and grindal worm. So this is some white worm in here. You see it there? It's only a new culture, it's not developed that well yet. But it's much bigger. This is for your adults. Conditions them up very well. They use bread, a smooth layer of just natural yogurt on the side of the bread. It makes it a bit gooey and wet. And then they go inside the bread, start reproducing, breeding. Change the bread every few days when it goes a bit mouldy. So that's a lot bigger, that's good for your adults. Cichlids or corries, catfish, anything that's larger that can take it. Grindal worm is the size in between Walter worm and microworm, which is the tiny ones. This is the next size up, so when the fish get a little bit bigger, which is there, which I'm feeding it on bread, which needs changing, it's a bit mouldy, but you can see the worms there, hell of a lot of them. And I'll do it until it's easier to cultivate. Smaller worm, so it's the size in between the microworm, Walter worm, then there's this one, and then you go to the white worm that's a lot bigger than this one. But again, just bread. Some people use cat biscuits, dog biscuits that are wet. I just use the bread, and I just spray it with a little tiny bit of water, and that's it. The substrate is coconut fibre. Get it from like pet shops as a brick, and then you soak it in water overnight, and it swells up to like 4 times its actual size, and then you split it up. So I've got that in this big tub, that's just all that soil cocoa fibre stuff, and then I put a little bit in each one when I'm doing them, and they're just spare tubs for later on. Right, cheers.